I'm Dan Fitzpatrick at StockMarketMentor.com on Monday, August 27th. And here, let's look at First Solar. This is a stock that had been, downtrending like forever. It's amazing what happens when an industry that largely exists on government subsidies, when those subsidies go away, isn't it funny what happens? This stock just implodes. Not going to zero, though. It didn't go to zero. The stock consolidated here in a fairly tight squeeze, boom, and blew out to the upside. Okay, this turned out to be a really good trade to the long side. If you bought, for crying out loud, you buy the first day of the breakout at even the close, you still got a 42% gain. So this has been an extremely profitable trade. Now, if you're already long, then what I'd suggest doing is recognizing that the 200-day moving average looms right overhead, that you are 42% profitable if you took this at the close of the first day. If you're buying down here or down here, and a lot of folks did, which is why the stock found support, then you've got even more profits. So how many folks, how many traders, how many funds do you think would say, well, I bought this thing because it was so deeply extended below the 200-day moving average. When it gets back to the 200-day moving average, that is, to put in a technical term, fair value. That's like it's neither overbought nor oversold in a longer range view. Instead, it's pretty much right at the mean. So I think that's where I'll sell it. So I suspect that you're going to get a fair amount of supply here. Right now at about 27 bucks, which is where the 200-day moving average is. But we don't know that for sure. First Solar, you can see, has come down quite a ways. So this may just push right through the 200-day moving average and go on its merry way to 40 bucks. So I wouldn't outright sell, but what I would do is definitely set an alert or a trigger or maybe a sell order for some of your shares when the stock does test 27 bucks or so. But also keep a trailing stop on your position. Make it, maybe a couple percent, 2, 3, 4%, something like that, so that if the stock does start to pull back, yes, you've lost a little bit of your profits, but you're not holding the whole thing as it falls down to 18 bucks. Now you're wondering whether the stock's going to go back up, and of course it's going to take like 2 or 3 months for it to do that, best case scenario. Instead, recognize that you've got resistance up here. It's a good time to be selling, not a particularly good time to be buying. And so you have to recognize that there's your source of resistance, and using a trailing stop can eliminate the need for you to identify support. Instead, you're locking in your profits. One other thing, you can say, well, where would you put a stop right now, Dan? Well, let's think about this. I'd say 20 bucks is the low. Well, that's 20% below where the stock is right now. So you're going to let this stock go all the way back down here, and if it breaks 20, you're going to sell it at that particular time. How many folks do you think were down here waiting? The stock comes down here, and right when you're selling it, some traders that are flat are saying, oh, that's great, thanks, I got the pullback, so-and-so's selling his shares, I'm in. So you don't want to set your stop too loose to a point where the only time your stop would be triggered would be also at the same time that dip buyers would buy. Instead, use a trailing stop on a position that you have. Do not buy the stock now simply because it is so close to resistance. So you use this, manage your risk, and let this position run as long as it's prudent to do so. So I hope that helps. Okay, members, head to the strategy session. I go a little bit over, but the last, 6, 7, 8 minutes, what I'm really talking about is a concept of trading psychology, and that is speaking to yourself, to others, how you can really monitor where you are in your trading, by just focusing on yourself, listening to yourself, and making sure that you're saying the right things, and that will ultimately lead to doing the right things. So I left that at the end of the video just because maybe some of you guys don't like to hear the psychological mumbo jumbo. So get over there now. Thanks.